Hey guys, what's going on? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides, and a lot of people have been messaging me. I've definitely been thinking it and feeling it. What the heck is going on with Ford and their car lineup for the future here in the United States? It's something that I've actually been thinking for a while now. I've been talking with friends and my wife and people in the industry. What is going on with these SUVs and CUVs and everything in between and with this information, Ford cutting up their lineup of cars. They're just going to keep the Mustang and they're going to have a Focus, but it's going to be a CUV type of crossover Focus. Why are they doing it? Why is this happening? Why now? And trust me, when I found out the news, I was just as confused as many of you. I was actually excited about news that I heard a week ago, and I was actually putting a vlog together about it, and I had to trash it because of the new information that's come. When Ford released those images of the 2019 Ford Focus and the different models that were going to fall under that title, I was excited. They were talking about a Focus ST putting out 275 horsepower. I was excited about a Ford Focus RS putting out about 400 horsepower. And then the bombshell was dropped that, sorry, we got you excited about those things. Now we're taking it back. And that's something that, Ford and a lot of the other manufacturers, when you go to other countries and you see these cars and you're wondering, how come these cars aren't sold in the United States? It's frustrating because on one hand, I understand where Ford's coming from. Look at the landscape here on the roadways of the United States. Everything is big, 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 big. Big pickup trucks, big SUVs. Now we have compact SUVs. I mean, I remember back in the 80s when Jeep first came out with the Cherokee, they called it an ORV, an off-road vehicle. And it's just funny because so many of these people driving SUVs, driving these big pickup trucks, they're just grocery getters. They're driven to soccer games. Nobody sees the actual off-road potential. Many people, at least, don't see that off-road potential of their vehicles. Many of their vehicles don't see off-road unless it's a dirt parking lot or something like that. So I do understand that. On the other hand, there's enthusiasts like me, like you guys, that we want some exciting cars. I don't want to drive an SUV. I don't want to drive a pickup truck. I mean, I wouldn't mind having a Ford Raptor, but hey, at the end of the day, that's a $70,000 truck when you look at all the options and all that kind of stuff. So it's something that I've been thinking for a while. I knew that it was going to happen. I was hoping later rather than sooner. And, who knows how this is going to change the landscape of other companies changing up their things. So let's talk about Ford for a little bit, and then I'm going to kind of twist it all together, talking about just the auto industry in general when it comes to this decision. So the cars that they're cutting from their lineup is the Ford Fiesta, which I did a great review not too long ago on the 2018 Fiesta ST, which, by the way, before I go any further, it's funny because a lot of people in Europe have been contacting me saying, hey, that's not a 2018 Ford Fiesta ST because that's not the redesigned one. Well, that's a perfect example. They already have a redesigned Fiesta ST. We actually have the old stuff here, which will definitely be gone very shortly. So they're getting rid of the Fiesta ST, the Ford Focus as we know it. The ST and the RS will not be available here in the States. They're getting rid of the Ford Taurus and the Ford Fusion. Now, I'm kind of surprised about the Ford Fusion because I haven't looked at actual any hard numbers, but just driving around the Clearwater, Florida area, there are a lot of Ford Fusions. So I guess they're just not selling enough in other places in the country. They're also getting rid of the C-Max. So those are the models. Bye bye. See you later. I mean, look at the Ford Mustang. Ford Mustang is doing a great job for Ford. It's actually been outselling the Camaro the past few years, which it had never done in the past. Camaro's always outsold Mustangs. So I guess it's good to see the Mustang selling. My problem with the Mustang is that, the one that I really want is a Shelby GT350, and there we go again. We're right back into, well, that's like a $60,000 car. And that's just something that is a little hard to swing. So, it's one of those things. Of course, on top of it, there's just something about driving a car like a Focus RS, like my wife's Focus ST here. Got a good amount of horsepower. Doesn't have 600 horsepower. Doesn't have 840 like a Demon. But there's just something about driving a car that doesn't have a ton of horsepower. They're fun. They're just fun cars to drive, and it's just a shame that now people are going to be shoehorned into vehicles that maybe right now they're not even thinking about, but that's going to be the options. When you look at the landscape, the SUV, it's crazy how much it's changed over the years, and it's crazy how everybody wants to be sitting up higher. The thing that I find hilarious about a lot of SUVs is that if you look at the front of the car, the front of the SUV is actually pretty low. So, when you're talking about an SUV and you want to be up high, you got the seating position, but still the body work is very low. So if you're going over anything off-roadish or anything like that, it really doesn't have a lot of ground clearance. I mean, that's one of the reasons why my wife had a Subaru Crosstrek, is that she wanted something a little bit higher, all the way around, higher, seating position wise, but also the car higher off the ground. And the Crosstrek does that, and it does it very well. The problem with a lot of these SUVs, CUVs, they're slow. I mean, Honda has that, excuse me, not Honda, but Toyota has that CHR. First of all, the inside of it as cramped as can be. I sat in one at the Tampa Bay Auto Show back in November. Cramped as cramped can be. On top of that, they only come in a CVT transmission, and they're slow. It's like they're trying to get a younger audience. The car does 0 to 60 in like 11 seconds. So, I'm not talking about, hey, I need a bunch of stats so I could go brag to my friends at the local car show. But let's get real here. It's nice when you go to pull out and you step on the gas and you actually go, and you're not going to get trampled over by somebody coming down the road. Another thing that blows my mind is people are being fooled when it comes to some of these CUVs and SUVs. They think they're getting more cargo space than a car or a hatchback, and in reality, that they're not. I think the best example that I could think of is a Mazda CX-3. So the CX-3 is based off the 3 Series platform. Guess what? That car costs more than a standard Mazda 3 hatchback, and it's got less cargo space. So there's a perfect example of people being fooled into thinking, hey, I'm getting this CUV, this compact utility vehicle that's going to have more room than a car, but in reality, it has less. And that's another thing I want to talk about is pricing. SUVs aren't cheap. I did an in-depth review of the Expedition. There it is again, a 60 something thousand-dollar car. So, you know, are the manufacturers shoehorning us into these cars that are going to eventually cost more? One of the biggest trends, and one thing that I wanted to definitely talk about in the auto industry, something very popular, an 84-month car loan. Back in the 1950s, 1960s, you got your 3-year car loan. That was it. Your car was paid off in 3 years. It's yours. 84-month car loan. That's how people are buying these expensive trucks and SUVs. Think about when it comes to status symbols and you look over, somebody rolls up next to you in a BMW M5, a brand new BMW M5. You know that it's a $100,000 car and you're like, wow, that's a nice car. It's crazy to think now that when a person pulls up next to you in a Ford Ranch King and you look over and you're like, oh, it's just a pickup truck. But in reality, that's like a $80,000 pickup truck. So it's crazy how things are shifting like that. Am I disappointed? Yes, because from the standpoint, I'm not a fan, I'm not a Ford fanboy by any means, but I know that competition just strengthens the breed. So with the Ford Focus RS going up against the Subaru WRX STI and the Golf R from Volkswagen, that just breeds competition, which makes them want to push the cars even further. With having cars being taken away, now the competition goes away. What incentive does Subaru have to really make that 2020 WRX STI so amazing and take it to that next level? I'm hoping that still with the Golf R available here in the States, that will happen, but that's yet to be determined. Um, think about just over the years, Ford of Europe has been, making great profits, making great cars. We haven't been really getting them here in the States. Think about the old generation Ford Focus. We were driving around 2008. You're driving a 2008 Ford Focus. That was, I mean, the chassis was way older than that. Whereas in Europe, they had a newer version, a better version. But yet we were driving the old one. And this is an American car company. So it's just mind blowing with that. Another thing that we have to remember is what's going to happen with jobs. Ford has a new CEO. When I heard that Mark Fields was leaving, I could care less uh, about CEOs, to be honest with you. Yes, they're running companies, they make tons of money. Um, I don't buy cars because a certain CEO is running the company. But I knew when Mark Fields left that things were going to change because this new CEO, for better or for worse, is into hybrid vehicles, into better fuel economy, into autonomous vehicles. Those are things that, from a car enthusiast perspective, and I don't want to speak for all car enthusiasts, but I'm speaking on behalf of myself. I really don't look at stuff like that. That doesn't excite me, how many miles per gallon a car is getting or the hybrid technology in it. And I'm definitely not looking forward to an autonomous car. I like driving my cars. That's one of the things I do. I mean, after a hard day at work, have something to eat, go take your car for a drive, and it's like everything is better. I like that feeling. I couldn't imagine if we weren't actually driving our cars anymore. Uh, where is this going to go? I don't know. Do people have bad memories? There's something called long-term memory, and I think, it's true that there's something called storage decay that over time you start to forget things. And I think one thing that people are forgetting is that back in 2007, 2008, we had a little bit of an oil problem going on, and that was causing the gas prices to skyrocket. I mean, I'm sure you remember $4, $4.50, $5, depending on where you were located. California, even worse. So we know it's going to happen again. The prices are going to go back up again. When? I don't know. And what's going to happen if we're all driving SUVs um, that are not getting the greatest of gas mileage? Yes, I know they're getting better, but still, just something to think about when you're purchasing your vehicle. I mean, I remember back in 2008, it was discovered that a Nissan Armada was getting like 9 miles of the gallon, even though on the window sticker it had some other number. Just crazy stuff like that. So I'm very curious to see where this is going to go. The nice thing is not being a fanboy of Ford. Hey, what's next? We'll see. What options are going to be there for us in the future. I'm hoping that there's other manufacturers that are going to pick up that slack and make some fun, enthusiast type cars because I still say there's a large population of us out there and we have our hard-earned money and we are willing to spend it on something that we see value in, something that we see excitement in, and something that draws that passion from our soul. So anyways, hopefully I was able to give you a little bit of perspective on this. Throughout this video, I had tons of different clips of the outgoing Ford models and the new Ford Focus coming out for 2019. We'll see what's going to happen with this big decision. I know there's still some exciting things coming from Ford, like the new Shelby GT500. But we'll just have to wait and see. But anyways, if you have anything that you would like to see on Raity's Rides, leave a comment in that comment section. If you have not hit that subscribe button, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button, please. Be part of this journey. It's amazing. I'm so humbled, so grateful for all my current subscribers, and I ask you to join, hit that subscribe button. I don't think you're going to regret it. I have a little bit of something for everybody. Muscle cars, imports, exotics, supercars, you name it. I feature it here on Raity's Rides. If there's anything in particular you want to see, leave a comment in that comment section. If you have a question, leave a comment in that comment section. Check out my Raity's Rides on Instagram, Twitter, and I just started up my Raity's Rides Facebook page. All original content. I like to do some sneak peeks of things coming out. If you go on there right now, there are a couple photos of things that are coming within the next week here on Raity's Rides. Like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.